Hello, City Skylines fans. My name is Socksway Up, and welcome back to another episode of Lake Sockside. Today we're picking up where we left off from last episode, where we're trying to fix not enough workers. We have a lot of buildings out here that wanted highly educated individuals, so we had to improve our overall population. You can see unemployment still struggling a little bit here. It's at 6%, not bad. We're getting more people employed. As you'll see at the end of this episode, we've got it all taken care of. And I did say that we needed to improve our overall population because we don't just need highly educated individuals. We also need uneducated individuals to fill the jobs that just require uneducated workers. So there is a balancing act that we eventually are going to have to work on doing here in this city, and we're getting there. You can see the college is starting to get more students. We're eventually want to get that upgraded as well, but it's all part of the same process as we slowly start expanding this city to get it back to a healthy balance. And balance is kind of the key word here of education versus non-education versus filling jobs that need each level of type of employee. So that's what we're doing. So I wanted to finish off this first area. Well, it's really finishing the overall skyline of Lake Sockside. This is the main area that we kind of will talk about when we look back into the end game of this city as the main focal points. And that's what we're kind of finishing here. So you saw last episode, I started letting the city or the game pick what buildings were being placed in the residential areas. There's other areas where I'm still going to plop down specific buildings for the look and feel that I want for that area. And this is an example of that right here. So we're trying to find a balance. Again, there's that word of in between the amount of detailing we do versus the amount of building and expanding we do. So here we do a little bit of a little bit of modifying this park to change the tiles. I was looking for changing the trees and I decided, let's just leave the trees as they are. So I do go in and I change the tiles because I don't think those blue tiles match. I like these plaza tiles better, and I do the small ones. And I think it gives it a unique look, and it's a way to customize an asset that is a default vanilla asset and make it your own. Very cool. I love the way that turned out. But we keep expanding here. We're going to move these trees a little bit, add a little bit of parking for this. I believe it's a high school, and kind of get this first area finished and finalized, or this new area, I should say. As you see here, we're adding in a few more roads. We are expanding the residential area here as well. So we're doing a little bit more road layout, more design, keeping it going, a little bit more of what we did in the last episode, but we're finishing this area before we move on to the next area that we're going to expand. And you'll see at the end of this episode, we get the balance very close to what we want. We actually almost flip it to where we have too much education going. So we're going to be careful moving forward with the amount of schools that we add per citizen to keep the balance to where we have enough of the uneducated workers to fill the jobs, those lower end jobs that we do have throughout this city and will continue to have as we move on with Lake Sockside. But here again, we're doing just a little bit of detailing, created kind of a little path up to the entrance of the school and a little parking lot, and as well as a little bit of trees just to finish off that area nicely. Here I fumbled along with finishing this little commercial district and was struggling with the size. It was a little bit compact. Probably shouldn't have gone with these. I like the way they look. I love the pedestrian roads where you can have the cars and the people walking and still have the buildings that do grow there. I love it. I think it looks sweet. But here we placed down a couple more custom buildings to kind of finish the skyscraper look of the skyline that we wanted along this river. And it finishes it well, I think. There's a good look at it there. We got a good amount of skyscrapers and a good balance or diversity of size of buildings in this area. What I was going for here was to maximize the space that we have available to us and wanted to slide this road as close as possible to those buildings to then add more to the other side of it. And I think it turned out nice. I could have done a little cleaner job, but was fighting with, blowing up and ruining some of the buildings and having to replace them. So I built the road away from them and then move it to bring it back where I wanted. And here we did add, this is like the only asset I've added in the last probably 6 months to my game. I re-added the ploppable pavement, which is something that was just missing and driving me nuts. So you're going to see us using that moving forward. It's really helping out when we clean up these pavement areas. Definitely miss that asset. So this is the main expansion of this episode. We off camera extended the highway. As you can see, it kind of is following the terrain of the river that it naturally creates. And then we're taking these roads and kind of extending them. We're finally getting into this area where there's this cargo hub that we haven't actually implemented yet. It is off right now, or it should be. I don't know why it's complaining about police department, but it should be off right now. And eventually we're going to start transitioning from residential and commercial back into industry in this area. And so we're getting close to that. It's something that I think we put that down probably 6 episodes ago, and we're finally getting to that and doing a little bit of road layout here that we eventually change up and mix up a little bit. And I think it turns out better when we redo it, but we're just extending right now. And also, some of the things you're going to see me do is I'm starting to get comfortable with the Multitool and that mod, and it's pretty clean. You can see here, we quickly just make the road sloped, perfect slope there, and then we use the terrane tools to smooth it out. It makes it look like we naturally built that there. You know, we blew up a little bit of the mountain, but then still kept some of the natural slope of the land. And here, we're using the parallel road tool part of the Multitool to add a basic road out here, but I wanted it parallel with the highway. So what we did is we extended it out to be, I don't know, I think it was like 60 or 100 spaces there. But now we know this is perfectly parallel, flattened it out to be ground level, and boom, it looks great. This is where I'm getting a little confused with the curve tool still. I'm not sure why it didn't work here, but we ended up remembering that, you know, basic parts of City Skyline actually work. And so we used the regular curved road tool to finally get what we needed, and it worked fine. See, if anybody knows what I'm doing wrong there, point me out to a video that kind of shows me how to use it. I would love that a little bit better. Maybe I'll go watch Yumble's video again as well. But we extended on the other side of the highway, so these are some future expansion areas that we're going to get to. We don't build in this area this episode, but it was some of my pre-planning going on in my head and wanting to kind of see the way these roads are going to lay out, the main roads of the rest of the city. I might actually do that off camera, is just build the rest of the main arteries of the town, and then we can just start populating them. Maybe, we'll see. But here we go. We're adding in the swim team to the university right now. This is the first sport that we're adding. I've wanted to do that for a while, and we're continuing the build of the university. And this is probably one of the last things we'll do. We might add some more smaller buildings to add the capacity of the school. But I did want to add one varsity team, and we may find another area in the city to build another university. I'm not sure yet. Lake Sockside kind of feels like a single university town to me. But we'll see as we go at the demands of the city, and as we grow and want more offices, we might need more college education. Maybe we'll throw down a vanilla university instead of the university's DLC style ones. But here we're doing more road layouts as we're starting to expand. This area here is going to be more of a mixture of different types of zoning. So the different types of zoning here are going to be some high density commercial and high density residential. And we start out with some of the commercial, and I let it grow on its own. I'm hoping when they upgrade, they're going to look better. I'm not a big fan of the way the buildings plop down to begin with. I might start playing around with themes to avoid these, I believe, European themed ones that I'm just not a huge fan of, but honestly, that's looking kind of cool. It's giving me an idea of the actual layout of the city and the town, and it's working. It's working for what I was going for, and you can see we're adding in the commercial there, and we do a little bit of detailing coming up here, get rid of that temporary electricity line, and let it grow a little bit. All right, the education is getting there. You can see another school year passed, and we finally hit the capacity to hit level 2, but we needed some more academic work, so we funded another one of those. We should have a level 2 university very quickly, but this is the point where you can see it's flipping for us. It's starting to get to, there's a lot less buildings that are unhappy. They finally have the well-educated employees as they need. Unemployment's at 2%. We're getting that balance. There's only about 2,000 available jobs, which is a lot better than it was when we started. I think in the next few episodes, maybe we'll work on the overall happiness of the city. I'm not really sure yet on that. So we did it. We got the city a lot more happy, a lot more balanced, and we just get to move forward and keep building a pretty awesome city at this point. So here we're doing a little bit of detailing. We're adding in a path to allow people to kind of walk across the grass area. And then I was using some random props as something I wanted to try that would maybe just spark an idea here. And I put up some bulletin boards, they're not bulletin boards, some billboards in this area. And then I wanted to add a path across here. I don't know why it was elevated. I ended up just putting it down and I loved it. It split it up. It looks intentional at this point. So we kept it, added in some trees to kind of finish off that area. And a little parking lot for the swim meets is perfect there for the swim team. They have a little bit of parking and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that team does. Maybe they'll do really good. But here we're building a little commercial area that's condensed and using up all of the space. This is something I've done in the previous city as well. We're not adding any parking in this spot, in this section. I think it looks really cool. Kind of mixing up some of the areas, and you can see we talked about in previous episodes, mixing in the high density and low density, and that's what we've been doing in this entire downtown-ish area. Here we're pre-planning for when we need more offices. We do want more offices right here, so we're adding in the parking. Gonna kind of ignore it for now and have that all zoned to allow us to have some buildings there. And then we're adding in some placeholders for some education. We'll probably come back to those and detail them a little bit better. Probably might start doing some of that stuff off camera as well, but this is another education area that we did add to help balance it out. And we're gonna pay a lot more attention to that again, coming up in the next few episodes. But I didn't want to just lay down roads and let it auto-populate it. I want to mix in a little bit of detailing and I'll find a balance. I've been trying to do this for this channel. We'll get there definitely by the end of this series. We're going to see what we want to do long-term for this channel, I think. But yeah, so a little bit more detailing along the way here, adding in a park, some trees, another education section done, another little area finished up. I'm digging it, and there's a lot of dead bodies now. So because of those dead bodies, we decided to do, these are definitely placeholders. We're putting down these services. We will attack this area next episode and make it look better and more organized. But we put down some hospitals and fire departments and police stations, also some cemeteries and crematoriums, is how you say it, to kind of help out with that problem. But you can see unemployment's good. We're at 3%. It'll get there. It's getting better. There we go. There's the cemetery that we're talking about and kind of helping that out, because the overall happiness is, it wasn't just the not enough workers that we're completely worried about. That is what these last two videos are really focused on, but really switching back the mindset to paying attention to the overall health of the city and growing it naturally instead of just playing on pause and growing a city how we want it. I'm trying to balance out the highly detailed, realistic city with also the mechanics of the game, as you may be noticing in these last few videos. But there we showed the silliness of City Skylines and how far this driver is going and passing up tons of other dead bodies that he could have picked up, but is what it is. It just takes some time for the game to catch up and that to be under control. Here we're adding in some more pathways for these citizens to walk around and get to places a lot quicker, and then adding in a few trees to detail it so it's pretty while they're doing that. Again, this area is coming out pretty sweet. I'm so excited that we've expanded this quickly in the last two episodes. As I mentioned last episode, it was moving really slow. You can see we're taking a peek. All these buildings seem to be very happy. Not very many complaining about workers. So in this last little feature of the episode, we add a bike path. There's always been something that I've wanted to do with this last section in between the river here and the downtown skyscrapers. I wanted something for the outdoorsy, get away from the downtown area. It's not all, business and skyscrapers. So a nice bike path where they can ride their bikes, enjoy a little bit of nature and a beautiful view of that gorgeous river. I think it pulls it off. I think it looks pretty cool. A lot more detailing coming for that. So we're cleaning this up here, gonna add in a little bit of some trees and then also some access to the road as you go on this path. Maybe you come down onto the bike path and just drive around on your bike, ride around on your bike for a little bit, and then you wanna go up to where you're going. So that's what we're adding in here, adding in these entrances back into the city. This area, as you'll see upcoming in a little bit of the ending of the video, we're gonna detail the heck out of this. This area, this is the start of this area. It looks cool as is, but I have a lot of ideas for finishing it off. and I think I'm going to spend a lot of time on my own and then just kind of show it off in a video. That's definitely something I want to start doing moving forward, is doing a lot of building offline, some of the tedious, repeatable detailing things that aren't necessarily worth showing in every episode. But yeah, we did it. It took 2 episodes and probably about 3 hours in game to get all the people happy, which isn't really bad. It was just some expanding. We overgrew the office area way too quick to begin with. That's the takeaway here. I've known it in the past, and it's really the outcome of playing the game 2 different styles in this same series. But as we take a nice little stroll through the new area, you can see why I want to do some detailing with the inconsistencies of the road. I want to border those with something. I don't know what yet, but there's going to be something on both sides of this road that make it pop a little bit more as our biker is heading back into town using one of those paths we talked about. But thanks for hanging out. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new style of videos. It's a lot of talking fast. My throat is hurting. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Sockside, and if you made it this long, might as well hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Sockside. I'll catch you on the next episode of Lake Sockside.